Me now, full panel. T.W. Origi, former communications aide to Republican Senator Lindsey Graham. Carla Sands, the former ambassador to Denmark and Greenland in the first Trump administration. Dan Cannon, former Battleground States Director for the Biden and Harris campaigns. And Chris Cillizza, joining us virtually, but just as important, NewsNation contributor. Hello to you all. Thanks for being here. So look, the company is the company. The performance, the miss on expectations, whatever. Set that to the side. I think the political headline here, TW, is that Elon Musk is going to be pulling back a little bit from DOGE, but he still plans to be working alongside the president, not just in the upcoming days and weeks, but really for the upcoming years, potentially.
Yeah, of course. I think his opinion is incredibly valuable to the president. And look, I don't think anyone was under an illusion that his full-time status at DOGE was going to be permanent. He said so. The president said so. The president gave him a strict edict. Get in there, cut, break stuff if necessary, and put your guys in.
Is he good for the brand,
He has done that. What's that?
Is he good for your brand, for the Republican brand? Popularity rating, only 40% favorable.
Right, but cutting government is favorable. Look, Elon Musk was always going to be a heat shield for criticism against Donald Trump. That's why he was there, to be the face of that. Elon Musk was under no illusion that it would take a hit to his business ventures. It would also take a hit to his popularity. He was willing to do that for the country and for cutting government down to size.
Heat shield?
Well, you know, Elon Musk saw that our nation was on an unsustainable trajectory. Our spending was so out of control, still is so out of control. The American people that voted for President Trump knew that Elon Musk was part of the package. We want more cuts. We love what he's doing. We want the corruption to go away. The corruption that they're finding, DOGE is finding all over the government, is inspiring. But now we want
it's also lower than
Congress.
It's also lower than anticipated, right? At like $150 billion this year.
I think Congress has to get in there and actually make the cuts, and then it actually goes up. And he needs to get into the Pentagon. I haven't even heard anything about the Pentagon. They've never passed a recent audit. They have to get in there and they have to take out that unnecessary spending. I'm waiting on DOGE.
You happy, Cannon? Tesla down. Although it's up after hours, I guess, probably on the news that he's coming back.
I don't want the company to do poorly. The company should do well, and it'd be great if he went back and get the company back on track. They were at 85% market share of EVs in this country in 2019. They're down in the low 40s now, lost $1 billion in revenue compared to the year before. It's not good for EVs. It's not good for manufacturing in this country. It's not good for Tesla, obviously, if that's not going well. But look, I want to just disabuse people of this idea that he has cut government spending. He came in and said there's $2 trillion of cuts. And then they said, nope, there's $1 trillion in cuts. And they said, nope, there's $150 billion in cuts. And the wall of receipts actually lists $63 billion of cuts. And it is riddled with errors. It takes no time at all to find that half of them don't make any sense whatsoever. And the CBO and GAO put out daily cumulative spending numbers from the federal government. Spending so far this year is up a couple $100 million over 2024. There have been no cuts. It's been an abject failure.
I'll give you a word in here, and then I'm going to get out.
No, the Biden administration has mentioned itself that there was $500 billion in wasteful spending in the government. And it also comes down to efficiency. He's in the IRS. He's in entitlements to figure out why there is misspent money. That's going to be where the lion's share is, and it will happen. It'll just take time.
But if it was efficiency, you wouldn't cut the IGs. I'm sorry.
Also, Green New Deal spending. President Trump ran on. He's going to rake that money back. We need Congress's help.
Oh, look, on efficiency, if you want the actual efficiency and cuts, go to the IGs, find the waste. Everyone's for eliminating waste, fraud, and abuse, but that's not what he's doing.
Cillizza, come on in if you can. This idea that he's sort of pulling back from DOGE, right? Mm-hmm. By the way, he is a special government employee, which means he can only be there for 130 days in a 365-day cycle. He says, though, he's going to be there for 1 or 2 days a week, I believe he said today, basically to the end of the Trump term.
I will believe that when I see it.
What do you think happens then?
I think that it's kind of like your high school girlfriend, and you say you're going to stay together when you go to college, and you go visit her. This is not my personal experience, or maybe it is. You go visit her a few times in the fall semester, and then you visit her once in the spring, and then in the summer you decide you're going to break up. Like I just think, look, Elon Musk, he's got a space company, an electric vehicle company, a company that digs holes. He's got a lot going on, and I just think, like, ultimately he's a businessman, and businessmen like to figure out ways to make money for their shareholders. And I think that's ultimately what he's going to return to do.
Yeah, so what do you think? What do you think wins out here? Because Elon made reference to this today, right? That like the country has to be saved or else no one succeeds, right? Tesla included. So what do you think he views the ultimate responsibility as, to helping the president or being the CEO of this massive company?
I mean, I always go back to this adage someone told me a long time ago: the answer to all your questions is money. I just
Yeah.
businessmen and businesses and companies are organized around making money, not, to borrow a phrase, making America great again. Now, if both of those things can dovetail and they can work together, I think that's fine. I would guess, look, Elon Musk has probably spent 75, actually maybe even more time in these first couple months on Doge. Is he going to spend 15% of his time on Doge going forward? Maybe, but I think 85+% of his time is going to be spent on other stuff, no matter what he says today.
I got to run, but give me a one-word answer, yes or no. You think we see Elon, let's say in a couple of years, still in the government working?
You'll see him in the Oval at least once, I'll tell you that.
I think he saved Western civilization buying Twitter, now X, and I think he's fighting to save our country.
You'll see him in the Oval, not in government.
Okay. All right. We'll leave it there. So, Liza, thank you, sir. Thank you all. Appreciate it. Still to come tonight here on the Hill, a learning